Ruskin Bond's The Night Train at Deoli. The Night Train at Deoli is a short story written in 1988 by Ruskin Bond, a well-known Indian author. It's a touching story about a young man who frequently takes the train from Delhi to Dehradun to see his grandmother. He meets a young woman selling baskets at the Deoli station on one of his journeys and is immediately drawn to her. Over the course of several trips, they form a special bond that will last a lifetime. The narrator, an unnamed college student, gets off the train at Deoli station on his way to Mussoorie. He is struck by the beauty of a young woman selling baskets on the platform. He is unable to speak to her and rushes back to his train, but the image of her lingers. The narrator intentionally gets off at Deoli on his next trip to see the girl again. They exchange glances, and the girl gives him a shy smile. The narrator is drawn to her beauty and innocence and feels a connection with her. The narrator and the girl develop a unique relationship over the course of several trips. They converse briefly and exchange a few words, but the narrator is hesitant to approach her directly. Despite their limited interactions, the narrator falls in love with her and begins to fantasize about a future with her. The narrator discovers on one of his trips that the girl is from a nearby village and comes to Deoli to sell her baskets. He begins to purchase baskets from her on a regular basis, hoping to strike up a conversation. Even though their conversations are brief, the narrator enjoys spending time with her, even if it is only for a few minutes. As his college year comes to an end, the narrator is forced to return to his hometown. He does, however, promise the girl that he will return to Deoli the next year. The girl also promises to be waiting for him. True to his word, the narrator returns to Deoli the following year in the hopes of seeing the girl again. When he arrives, however, he discovers that she is no longer selling baskets at the station. Disappointed, the narrator spends the day wandering around town in the hopes of running into her again. He is unable to locate her and is forced to abandon Deoli without seeing her. Years pass, and the narrator matures and moves on in his life. He will never forget the girl from Deoli and their special bond. Years later, as a successful writer, he returns to Deoli and is astounded to see how little has changed. As he walks around town, he notices the girl, who has grown into a middle-aged woman. The narrator rushes to her, overjoyed, and reminds her of the promise she made to him all those years ago. The narrator is invited to tea by the woman, who has never forgotten him. They spend the afternoon catching up and reminiscing about their time at the station. As the day comes to an end, the narrator realizes he must leave Deoli and return to his normal life. He does, however, promise the woman that he will return, just as he did all those years ago. The woman also promises to be waiting for him. The Night Train at Deoli is a lovely story about the power of love and the bonds that can form between two people even in the most unlikely circumstances. It's a timeless story that has captivated readers all over the world and remains one of Ruskin Bond's most beloved works. The Night Train at Deoli is a simple yet powerful story that captures the essence of first love as well as the agony of separation. The story is told from the perspective of a young man who witnesses the girl's simple and innocent behavior. The author employs vivid imagery to describe the story's setting, a small railway station in Deoli, and the surrounding countryside. The plot also delves into the theme of love and its many complexities. The young man has a pure and innocent love for the girl, and he is willing to risk everything to be with her. However, The reader is left wondering whether the girl feels the same way about him as he does about her. The story also touches on the subject of social and economic inequality. The girl is from a poor village, and her only source of income is selling fruit baskets at the railway station. In contrast, the young man comes from a more privileged family and has the luxury of visiting his grandmother in Dehradun every summer. This social class divide complicates their relationship and serves as a reminder of the harsh realities of life. The ending of the story is particularly moving, as the young man realizes he may never see the girl again. As the young man's memories of the girl haunt him for years to come, the author leaves the reader with a sense of longing and nostalgia. In conclusion, The Night Train at Deoli is a beautifully written story about love, social inequality, and the agony of separation. Ruskin Bond's simple yet elegant prose and vivid imagery have a strong emotional impact on the reader, and the story's ending is memorable. Many readers will be able to relate to this story because it captures the essence of first love and the bittersweet memories that linger long after the relationship has ended. The setting of the story, a small railway station in rural India, adds charm and authenticity. The descriptions of the station, the surrounding countryside, and the people who live there make for a vivid and immersive reading experience. Overall, The Night Train at Deoli is a work of short fiction that exemplifies Ruskin Bond's extraordinary talent as a storyteller. It is a story that has stayed with readers for decades and is considered a classic in Indian literature.